Hey guys, and welcome to another Evercade Deep Dive Completion Review. And what's an Evercade Deep Dive Completion Review, you may ask? Well, it's where I need to complete an Evercade game from start to finish. It doesn't matter how many save states I use, and it doesn't matter how many load states, just as long as I can complete the game before I do this review. And I have a real treat for you today, because today is Evercade's first single game cartridge release, which is Full Void, cartridge number 32, and it's a native Evercade game. So this is made directly to use on the Evercade console. Let's get into it. Let's talk about Full Void, a haunting cinematic platformer that does something no other Evercade title has done before. It arrives as the first ever single game cartridge in the system's history. Developed by Outofthebit, a small indie studio based in London, Full Void pays tribute to 90s classics like Another World and Flashback, but brings with it a modern edge that makes it feel fresh, urgent, and emotionally grounded. This is where Full Void really earns its spotlights. It's Evercade's very first single game cartridge. Now that's a big deal. Until now, Evercade has focused on multi-game collections, whether it's retro compilations or indie anthologies, so for Blaze Entertainment to decide an entire physical release to one indie title, that's a huge vote of confidence in the quality of Full Void. And it deserves it. The physical release is also a treat for collectors. The special edition comes with a blue cartridge, reversible cover, an art book, sticker sheet, and a prequel comic that expands on the game's lore. For fans of physical media and boutique packaging, it's a beautiful piece to own. Now, Full Void is set in a bleak dystopian future ruled by rogue AI. You step into the sneakers of a nameless teenage protagonist. There's no lengthy exposition, no dialogue-heavy cutscenes, just mood, atmosphere, and a sense of growing dread as you begin to uncover what has happened to the world. Your journey takes you through desolate cityscapes, underground tunnels, and eerily abandoned facilities. Along the way, you'll be dodging sentries, solving puzzles, and using a small handheld hacking device to interact with your environment. What really hits is the tone. It's somber, emotional, and immersive, and all this is achieved without a single line of spoken dialogue. As always, we'll be looking at the story, the sound, and the gameplay, and stick around because I'll be letting you know my Evercade stats on how long it took me to complete Full Void. But before we do that, let's do a little bit of a detour and talk about Outofthebit Studio, the team behind Full Void. Based in Wimbledon, London, yes, the place where they play tennis, Outofthebit was founded in 2008 by Ali Motzi, a retro gaming enthusiast, software engineer, and pixel art evangelist. Ali's mission? Simple. Bring that 90s gaming magic back, but with a modern twist. And you can feel the passion running through everything they do. Their games are all about handcrafted 2D pixel art, fluid animation, and that oh-so-satisfying blend of old-school style with new-school gameplay. This isn't AI-generated art or soulless asset flipping. This is passion, pixel by pixel. Their small but mighty teams include pixel arts and animators Tom Cullen and Leo Hallwert, soundtracked by the atmospheric talents of composer Robin Powell. With PR wizard Rosalia Trupiano helping spread the word, think of them as the indie game Avengers, but cooler and with better lighting. Full Void became their breakout hit, scoring nominations from Rising Star and Critics' Choice at Indie Cup UK 2023. Not bad for a side-scrolling puzzler. And they're not slowing down. Their next game, Nanuka, Secret of Shattering Moon, and just based on that name alone, I'm already hyped for it. Expect more unique art, storytelling, and out-of-the-bit soul that they put into every game. The other interesting fact was that Full Void was developed during the COVID-19 pandemic. In fact, Outofthebit's team has mentioned how the pandemic significantly influenced the game's development. During the lockdowns, the studio had to shift to remote work and adapt to the challenges of working from home. And this situation actually aligned well with Full Void's themes of isolation and dystopia, as the game deals with a future world dominated by AI, where human connections were sparse, and survival depends on one's ability to navigate an increasingly desolate environment. Outofthebit has said that the pandemic allowed them to dive deeper into the game's atmosphere, focusing on the feelings of loneliness and the idea of being trapped in a system which mirrored the feelings many people experienced during the lockdowns. So, in a way, the pandemic's impact was reflected in the game's narrative and tone, even though it wasn't a direct influence on the plot. The limited scope of their small team also helped them maintain the game's quality despite the challenges of a remote collaboration. The other cool thing is that they included the Prologue comic in with the Evercade packaging. The comic follows the same hand-drawn aesthetic of the game, but with more intricate details and broader strokes than the pixel art. It's a great way to experience the same atmospheric tension you get in the game, but through a traditional comic format. You can see the world before the AI apocalypse, and it helps give some context to the setting you're thrust into when you start playing. What's really clever about the prologue is that it doesn't spoon-feed you everything. Instead, it builds mystery around the AI uprising, the protagonist's backstory, and the fate of humanity. It gives you the breadcrumbs of the lore without over-explaining things, leaving a lot for interpretation. Exactly the tone Full Void established in its gameplay. Alright, buckle up, because Full Void doesn't do the whole let's ease you into it slowly type of thing. No, it tosses you straight into the cyberpunk nightmare where machines have taken over. Humanity's hanging on by a thread, and you, my friend, are one of the last survivors. You start off in a dark, abandoned city, and let me tell you, this place is about as lively as a cemetery. Streets are cracked, lights are flickering, and the only company you've got? The hum of the machines, and they are everywhere. And not the cute, helpful robot kind. No, these are the AI overlords that decided humans were the weak link in the survival chain, and their plan? Total world domination. Now here's where things get interesting. You, my friend, are the protagonist. And no, you don't get a name, a backstory, or any of that typical hero stuff. You're just a silent, nameless wanderer, just trying to survive. Like I said before, the game doesn't spoon-feed you anything. Just here's a broken world, deal with it. And honestly, that's why it's so perfect. You get to project all your hopes, dreams, and survivor instincts onto this character. Now here is where it gets spicy. The AI has set up security systems everywhere because nothing says we're in charge like locking down every corner of the world. And you've got to hack terminals, bypass firewalls, which, by the way, are way more dangerous than your ex's "I'm fine" text, and sneak through the wreckage without getting caught. Pro tip, everyone, if you see a machine with red eyes, run. Seriously, don't try to make friends. This world doesn't have time for niceties. It's like playing hide and seek, but with a giant robot that's very bad at the seeking part. It just wants to kill you. Fun, right? The story isn't just handed to you on a silver platter. The whole world is a puzzle, and you've got to figure out what happened piece by piece. As you explore, you'll uncover bits and pieces of the backstory and why did the AI take over? What happened to humanity? Why does this protagonist keep crawling through dark alleyways like they've just lost a bet with a supervillain? Instead of long-winded dialogue dumps, Full Void gets its story across the line through atmosphere. The game lets you uncover fragments of histories, clues, and some very creepy messages from the past that will make you question whether you've walked into a dystopian nightmare or just a Monday morning commute. You'll find some pockets of resistance, humans who are still fighting back. And are they winning? Not exactly. Are they really struggling? Absolutely. It's like they're trying to get a group chat going in a world where nobody has Wi-Fi. Still, you'll get these glimpses of human spirit, of people still trying to fight the machines, and it's in these moments where the story really clicks. It's about survival, about pushing forward when it feels like everything's stacked against you. Now, I'm not going to spoil the ending because Full Void is one of those games where the journey is more important than the destination, and the ending, it's just going to stick with you. Not everything is tied up with a nice little bow, and that's what makes it memorable. You're left with this lingering sense of unease, like you just woke up from a weird dream but can't quite remember all the details. And honestly, I kind of love that about it. The game leaves you thinking long after you've hit the end. Alright, let's talk about the sound of Full Void. If you've played the game, you'll know that the sound design isn't just a background feature. It's practically another character in this dystopian world. In fact, it's almost like the sound is actively trying to creep you out at every turn. And honestly, it nails that feeling of constant unease. The soundtrack of Full Void is minimalist and quite frankly, spine-chilling. This isn't your typical action-packed bombastic soundtrack. Instead, the music is subtle, almost like the game's trying to lull you into a false sense of security until, of course, a rogue AI system tries to hunt you down. From the very first moment, you're treated to these ambient soundscapes, a mix of distant hums, whirling machines, and the occasional distant echo that will make you feel like you're completely alone in the world. And that's the point. The silence is often more unsettling than any music could be. But then, when you least expect it, the music will kick in, sparse electronic beats that feel like they're creeping up behind you, waiting for that next twist. It's a lot like a suspense movie where you don't even realize how tense you've become until the score shifts into something more intense. You get these low drones punctuated by sharp, almost glitchy notes, and it perfectly fits the tech-ridden AI-controlled world. There's no room for comfort in this world, just an oppressive, relentless sense of something watching you. And those sound effects, oh boy, let's just say the machines are loud and they should be. You'll hear whirling gears, metallic footsteps, and that ever-persistent buzzing hum that makes you wonder if a drone is about to fly right up in your face. Every sound feels like it's telling you, hey, you're not alone here, we're watching you. The sound design is all in the details with Full Void. It's the small, subtle details that really tie everything together. As you're sneaking around, you'll hear the soft clinks of your footsteps on the floor. Careful, don't make a noise, or the electronic crackle of a nearby terminal coming to life as you get closer to it. These little touches make the world feel reactive, like it's alive, and you're just one step away from triggering something bad. And when you're exploring these desolate landscapes, it's those empty moments that really stand out. The total lack of sound in certain areas where the quiet is so thick you can cut it with a knife. And that's where the game gets you. It lets you feel the weight of the silence, making each mechanical sound seem all more menacing. The soundtrack to Full Void was composed by Robin Powell, who is known for creating atmospheric and immersive music. Robin's work on Full Void is a key part of the game's identity, blending eerily minimalistic electronic beats with haunting soundscapes that perfectly complement the dystopian, tech-heavy world the game presents. The music amplifies the sense of isolation and tension, drawing players deeper into the story while enhancing the overall experience. Let's take a look at the gameplay. Alright, let's talk about the gameplay because Full Void isn't just about a cool story and awesome visuals. This game has gameplay that will keep you on the edge of your seat. You're not just playing a game, you're surviving an apocalypse. Imagine a cyberpunk dystopia where you, our quiet, nameless hero, have to sneak, hack, and puzzle your way through a world taken over by an oppressive AI. You're basically trying to avoid getting robot splattered while piecing together the mess left behind by a humanity that's just barely hanging on. Fun, right? Let's start with the exploration. Picture this. You're wandering through abandoned, ruined city streets, the type of place where the open for business sign is just a distant memory, and the atmosphere is so thick with dread you practically feel the dust in the air. As you walk through these grim locales, you're scanning every corner, hoping to find useful tech, hacking terminals, or just avoiding robot patrols that are more deadly than your Wi-Fi dropping in the middle of an online match. The world is vast and there are so many nooks and crannies to explore, but you just can't go in all guns blazing. Well, if you had guns, maybe you would. But no, you gotta sneak, think, and use stealth to your advantage. No full-on Rambo action here, folks. And the stealth is where the gameplay really kicks in. The stealth mechanics and hacking puzzles like a cyber ninja. You're avoiding patrols, hiding behind corners, and making sure the AI doesn't spot you. One wrong move and, well, let's just say you'll be running back to your last save point faster than your phone battery drains. And after all that stealth and hacking, here's the deal. You're not exactly looking to fight robots head on. This is more of a hide and seek with a bunch of deaf machines who don't know the meaning of the word mercy. And avoiding combat is often the best option. And listen, these AI patrols are no joke. They're programmed to hunt you down with cold mechanical precision. But hey, you've got the speed and wits on your side, right? Use the environment, outsmart them, and make sure you're always one step ahead. Now let's talk about the puzzles in Full Void, because let's face it, it's the love child of a stealth game and a brain teaser, and the puzzles here aren't your typical press button, open door flair. They'll have you thinking, hacking, and solving problems that make you feel like you're really part of the resistance. There's something satisfying about hacking into terminals, solving complex puzzles, and unlocking new areas. You've got this real sense of accomplishment. Not to mention the relief when you crack a particularly tricky puzzle. It's like finding the last piece of a puzzle you've been working on for hours, and not screaming in frustration. Now, for this card, I paid $32.93, and it is the only card on the console. So for me to get my money's worth, I'll need to play the game for 3 hours and 18 minutes. And what's so random about this one is I played it for exactly 3 hours and 18 minutes, meaning that I got my $10 per hour conversion precisely. That's why it still gets a bargain in my book. For this game, I had a play count of 3. This game did not use any save counts, and this game did not use any load counts. That's right, in Full Void, you don't need to worry about manually saving your progress at every turn. The game has an automatic save system built right in, so it saves your progress at key points during gameplay. This means if you die or need to take a break, you can simply pick up where you left off without the need of complex save states or worrying about losing progress. Instead of relying on save points scattered throughout the game world like in some retro games, Full Void handles this seamlessly, giving you as much freedom to focus on the experience rather than the technicalities of saving and loading. So you can get immersed in the game's world without constantly having to check if you've saved your progress or not. This makes it a lot easier for players, especially those who just want to dive in and experience the story and puzzles without any interruptions. So no need for external save states. Full Void had your back with its auto-save functionality, allowing you to jump right back into the action when you're ready. And now it's time for my review on Full Void. Alright, we're diving into the story territory, and I'm giving Full Void a solid 9 out of 10 for its epic tale. Why? Well, let me tell you, if you're obsessed with post-apocalyptic games like I am, this one's gonna hit you right in the feels. First off, there's just something about wandering through a world that's been absolutely wrecked by some catastrophe. You know the kind, the world's in ruins, technology's gone haywire, and humanity's hanging on by a thread. I mean, is there anything more thrilling than exploring a post-apocalyptic world where everything feels like it's on the brink? But what I really love about Full Void is how it handles the storytelling. It's not the usual here's everything all at once kind of deal. No, the game doesn't just drop a massive info dump on you. Instead, it lets you piece things together bit by bit, uncovering the world's secret as you go. It's like a detective game where you're the one connecting the dots, making discoveries and going, oh man, I can't believe that's how it went down. And that's what I love about post-apocalyptic stories. There's this constant thrill of discovery. You're not just walking down a straight line where somebody's telling you everything that happened. No, in Full Void, you're living the story. Every corner you turn, every terminal you hack, and every robot you dodge feels like another piece of the puzzle clicking into place. What makes it even cooler is that the game doesn't just spoon feed you the narrative. Instead, you're actively learning and exploring. It's like you're part of the world, unearthing the truth at your own pace. And you're figuring it all out as you go along, instead of having someone just lay it out for you. It makes the journey feel way more personal and more engaging. And there's no better feeling than stumbling across a piece of the story you weren't expecting and going, wait, that's how they got to this point? It makes you feel like you're really unraveling something big and important. And that's what keeps you hooked. So if you're a fan of post-apocalyptic settings and you're the type of player who loves that slow burn of discovery rather than having everything shoved down your throat, Full Void nails it. You're constantly learning, constantly piecing things together, and honestly, that's one of the best ways to tell a story in a game. And that's why I'm giving this a 9 out of 10. It's a solid journey that keeps you invested without spoon-feeding you the plot, just how I like it. Thrilling, immersive, and full of mysteries waiting to be unraveled. Alright, let's talk about the sound, and let me tell you, I'm giving it an 8 out of 10 because it's so good at setting the mood. Full Void really knows how to use sound to create that eerie, spine-chilling atmosphere that keeps you on the edge of your seat. I mean, there's this one part where I'm racing through tight duct holes, and suddenly I hear these heavy metallic thuds, AI robots smashing their way after me, trying to catch up. And let me tell you, those sound effects here do more than just set the edge. They amped me up. My heart was literally pounding as I could hear the clunking of their footsteps, echoing, getting closer and closer. It's like you're stuck in this claustrophobic space, and the sound just magnifies that tension. It's intense. And then there's that music, man. It's not just the background noise, it's almost like it becomes part of the action. The eerie tones, the synths, and the pulsing beats all come together to make you feel like you're in this dystopian nightmare. It doesn't just accompany what's happened on screen, it enhances it. When you're in those high stress moments, the music ramps up right alongside your adrenaline. It's like the game's trying to make your heart race right along with it. What I really appreciate about the sound design is how it stays consistent with the overall atmosphere of the game. There's a lot of mystery and tension, and the sound captures that perfectly. You don't just hear it, you feel it. You can't help get pulled into this world where everything feels like it's one wrong step away from chaos. So why am I giving it an 8 out of 10? It's because Full Void does a fantastic job of using sound to get your heart racing, add to the tension, and just make you feel on edge. Whether it's the chase scenes or those quiet moments where you're just listening for any sign of danger, the sound really makes the experience unforgettable. Now let's dive into my thoughts on the gameplay of Full Void, and I'm giving it again a solid 8 out of 10. While the game's filled with engaging mini puzzles that keeps you on your toes, one of the most standout aspects is how your character interacts with the environment and, more interestingly, the AI. First off, those mini puzzles are super satisfying. They're not too overwhelming, but they do keep you thinking. Whether you're flipping switches or figuring out how to power up machines, it's the kind of puzzle solving that feels rewarding without frustrating you. What really makes it fun is how seamlessly these puzzles blend into the world around you. Every puzzle feels like part of the environment and not just a random challenge that's been dropped in your lap. You feel connected to the world, and every time you solve something, it's like you're unraveling another piece of the mystery. It's really a nice balance. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Your character doesn't just solve puzzles in isolation, they interact with the environment in meaningful ways. And it's not just about moving through spaces. Your character hacks into the AI, which is a huge part of the story, and as you progress, you start forming this bond with another AI, almost like it's becoming your ally. And honestly, this reminded me so much of Flight of the Navigator, one of my favorite childhood movies.
David, what were those strange sounds?
Strange sounds?
From the geek's car.
Wow. Well, that's called music.
I want to hear more music.
If you remember that movie from when you were younger, you'll know exactly what I mean. It's the same feeling of hacking into something beyond your control and slowly forming a friendship with it. The AI goes from being a looming, somewhat ominous presence to becoming this helpful companion, guiding you through the world. It's a really cool dynamic, and that adds a personal touch to the gameplay. Now, while I love the interactions with the environment and the AI, I'm giving the gameplay an 8 out of 10 because as much as I enjoy it, I do wish there was a little more variety in the puzzles. Sometimes they can feel a bit repetitive, but that's just a small quibble. Overall though, the way your character navigates the world, the puzzles, and the developing bond with the AI all come together in a way that makes the gameplay feel immersive and engaging. Overall, I'm giving Full Void an 8 out of 10. I could have rounded it up to a 9, but given that the game feels a little on the short side, I decided to keep it an 8. That being said, the shorter length isn't necessarily a bad thing. In fact, it works in the game's favor. It's one of those titles you can pick up and enjoy in short bursts. Whether you've got an hour to kill or just want a quick thrill, Full Void is perfect for that. It's a classic that still holds its ground in a modern landscape, offering a gripping experience without overstaying its welcome. If you're looking for a game with tight gameplay, a compelling narrative, and somewhat awesome AI interactions, it's definitely worth playing. Even with its shorter length, it leaves a lasting impact, and it's one you'll probably find yourself coming back to year after year. One of the most exciting things about Full Void is that it runs natively on the Evercade, and it does so beautifully. There's something inherently satisfying about having a game like this on a physical cartridge, especially when it's the first of its kind to be released exclusively on the system. No emulation, no shortcuts, and that is the real deal. The game doesn't just run smoothly, it takes full advantage of the Evercade's hardware. The graphics are crisp, and the puzzle solving and environmental interactions feel seamless. It's like stepping into the game and being absorbed into this world, but without any of the stuttering lag you might expect from a console that's not quite as powerful as its big brothers. On the Evercade, everything from the AI hacking moments to the tense chase sequence happens with fluidity that makes the game feel right at home on the system. But here's the kicker. Full Void isn't just a game you can grab digitally, it's the first physical release on the Evercade to be an exclusive. That's huge for fans of the system. It's the kind of game that showcases how indie developers can make a real impact on modern consoles. Outofthebit has created something that is not only artistic and innovative, but it's also a collector's dream for those who appreciate physical copies. And the cartridge looks awesome, and the whole idea of getting an exclusive game on a physical medium adds to the experience. It's not just a game, it's a piece of gaming history. When you pop that cartridge into the Evercade and see Full Void in action, it's a reminder of what makes the Evercade special. It's not just about playing great games, it's about celebrating the physical experience of gaming, and Full Void is the perfect game to kick off this journey. So whether you're playing this for the first time or revisiting it as an annual comfort game, the fact that it runs natively on the Evercade with no compromises makes the experience feel even more immersive. And as for the first physical exclusive, it's not just a game, it's a collector's treasure. Thanks so much for watching another deep dive completion review. Please remember to like, subscribe, or comment down below. I love hearing your thoughts on my reviews. We'll see you next time on the Odd Socks.